Thank you for staying with us. The Nigeria Senate has set up an ad hoc committee to investigate allegations of drug trafficking against Senator Oyelola Yisa Ashiru, who represents Kwara South Senatorial District. The committee was established after Ashiru raised Order 42 of Senate Rules, which deals with personal explanation. He noted that the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, accused him of involvement in drug trafficking, which led to the arrest of some of his aides. He also stated that the allegation against him by the NDLEA was baseless and unfounded. He emphasized that this accusation came after he contributed to a proposed bill on the establishment of a drug-related agency on Tuesday, the 15th of October 2024. He urged the Senate to take action on the matter, stating that the allegation was an infringement on his person and his privilege as a sitting senator. The Senate President and lawmakers resolved to take appropriate actions after recommendations tendered by the newly set up ad hoc committee within 1 week. But joining us in the studio is a public affairs analyst, Olusesan. Good morning. Yeah. It's good to have you join us.
Good morning, Vero. Good morning, Kemi, and good morning to all our viewers across the globe.
Right. This matter is an interesting one. Recall that even a senator had said that the same Tuesday, that's Senator representing Kano South, Senator Karu Sumaila, had made an allegation that some of his colleagues were allowing their aides, people, the use of illicit drugs, be it in their offices and their homes, and that there are chances that some of his colleagues were using, drugs. Now, having that at the back of your mind, and this matter of the allegation against the Kwara South senator, how do you juxtapose all of these issues and the matter of the investigation?
Thank you very much, Vero. If we start from the background information of the man representing Kano and your relationship with the HNIs, we call them the I network. There are the use of drugs by some of those people are done discreetly because there are things they can afford. And I've come to ask the question, possibly because of the pressure. They just need something to take off some of those things. It may not, some might be recommended, some might be what they just feel that they need to use. And when you look at the allegation against this senator, I don't think there is a direct attack on him to say he's using the drug. But what we are saying is we have individuals around you whom we, while, doing on a tip-up information, while doing a ransack around your house, we had this happening, of which I can tell you very much possible because you can't know 100%.
Those around you.
Those around you. You stay as a senator in your room most of the time. You come out once in a blue moon. You never have understanding of the people around you. And I read the refutal by the aide to the senator saying the names being mentioned by the NDLEA they are not in the custody of the aides or any of the aides of the senator. There was against one another. But I feel that I have some things to give to NDLEA too. In this kind of I network investigation, or when you have their house, I don't know, we should have equipment that can record activities of such what I would call proceedings or action being carried out. Because it is not going to stop here. Now investigation they have been invited by the Senate, at least to be seen, to be checking one of their own. Is it going to be mere words of mouth? You know, from my finance perspective, we don't act by mere. You want to catch someone and say he has conducted a fraudulent act, and you are coming with mere word of mouth. There must be facts. And when it comes to an agency like NDLEA, it's not documentation. It's not what that you're writing. We must have pictorial evidence, video evidences to confirm that while those things were actually carried out, even with timestamp when the house was ransacked. Those are things that will actually confirm some of the things that they are saying about this, and the personnel concerned that were actually caught in the act. I think three of them were mentioned, 2 in February, and I think another one around June. So we must have documentary evidence against this, and I think that's what we actually, allude to what they are saying about the senator, or it might just be one of those things. They are not the only one we see that most of the time will come, we hear about investigation being carried out, and we will not see the end of it because those things are not actually substantive to actually defend what you are putting against this HNI.
But with the work that the NDLEA has done over the years, especially with the era of the person of Buba Marwa. Well, do you say that they do not have the capacity with all that they have done, with what you are requesting now, video evidence and all of this, because we've seen the successes they have recorded over the years?
What interests me is the way you will handle a middle class or lower level people in this kind of allegation. It's not the same way you handle the HNI, the high network individual. And that's my challenge here. Okay. When you want to pick up, you see some of the ones they pick at the airport, pick here and there, you always see those things and they'll be very free to make those known. From what I read, this issue started February. And we are hearing this around October, September, October. What has happened between that February and now? If it is the normal average individuals that we know, we would have heard it in the news. And that's why I always say there are 2 levels at which we address issues from the agencies. When you are dealing with the high network people, you don't handle it the same way you handle the middle class. So if issues from what Babalakin said, that the first raid they carried at the senators that was in February, and from February till now, we didn't hear about being charged. Baba Femi. We didn't hear of them being charged for that particular until the senator came up and said something that you now have to be putting up a press release on some of those things. Those are areas where I have concern about. They have the capacity. But what we have observed when it comes to Nigeria, and we have to say it the way it is, the way and manner people who are high network are being handled are different from the way they will handle you and I, or the middle level people.
And on the flip side, the senator has also gone on to challenge the EFCC that indeed there was a link of those arrested of NDLEA. If indeed there was a link of the people arrested at his residence, then why haven't they been charged to court? And you've also spoken...
That's the area where I see as lacuna you are giving the man since February, June.
And he has gone on now to label the NDLEA as being corrupt and the most compromised agency in Nigeria. How do you react to that?
Yeah, because they gave the room. If you ask me, they gave the room. We keep saying it that you don't delay. You see, the way and manner we carry out investigation in this part of the world is quite interesting. We delayed it. Not only NDLEA, most of the agencies, it takes forever before you come out and charge the person to court. I mention this every now and then. Where are we on the suspended case of the Minister of Humanitarian? Can you say anything to it? That is another agency that nobody is saying anything to. Years to come, that will go under the drain. So how can you visit someone, April, have those evidences and fact against them? Until now, we have not heard anything about charging them to court.
There could be compromise.
Well,
with the evidence, there could be compromise.
So it's just left for you and I. They are only giving us, room for people to start feeling suspicious. Because if it is a common... You've seen severally where people will be caught within 1 month, they are charged to court. Most of the ones that will see that happened, possible people trafficking drugs out of the country and they've been caught, they don't waste time on it. Why do we have to wait this long? So the senator must be speaking from the perspective of an informed person, being an high network to say a lot of things must have gone under the water. And now that they are not, that's why they are now raising allegation against him. You might have sir, we observe this because you don't come out openly when it gets to these big men.
You
don't come out openly. You try and talk and make some of these
Why try to talk? He's a Nigerian. He's a citizen.
Vero, you are not from Ghana now. Neither are you from
I'm
UK.
just saying that if
we are on national TV, the way and manner. We operate the rule of law, but you know there are people that are above the law in this country. We've seen it happen, and that is our major issue when it comes to handling it. When you see majority of the corruption allegation, you've seen where we start from, where we are, and where most of them end to. So we are saying it openly, and we've actually pinched the judiciary, the agency. They are all Nigerians. If you have weighty allegation or serious allegation against some of those people, can we make it as fast as we could so that we can establish and know the next line of action? When I saw the spokesperson of NDLEA, they've been doing a fantastic job, and I've given a lot of commendation to Buba Marwa, who is the chairman, that he has actually, but you don't allow, when you allow one thing to, eroded all the goods that you've done, it's just one way of saying. They must address issue irrespective of who you are. We expect that by now. We should have heard that these are actually been put to court. The lawyers are actually, if it is the judiciary arm that is delaying, maybe we'll be having a different discourse. But we have not heard. And I don't know, possibly in the public domain, to say we've charged them to court, we've had the case, interrogated, they've adjourned it, and this is where we are. We've not heard that.
But what's your expectation of this Senate probe now? How comprehensive do you think it will be?
Well, for me, if they are able to make available to the Senate,
you mean the NDLEA?
The NDA, presenting its case, but the Senate are not the one to decide the fate of the people that have actually carried out the act. It's the court of competent jurisdiction that will determine. They will just go there, explain, possibly to exonerate the senator from what has actually happened. But I feel that without the Senate inviting to investigate, to interrogate, the normal thing is to charge the court, and the court will decide the fate of the people. The area of saying that those personnel are not aides to the senator, it's just a mere words of you and I. There are so many. Do you know there are aides to aides to aides? Like 3-level aides. They might not be directly aides to the senator, but they might be aides to the aides of the senator.
And because they were found around the environment.
And you don't just go into the house of a senator like that. We all understand the security mechanism surrounding the house of a senator. We've seen it. You don't just barge in and say you just want to go in like that. So it might not be directly aid to the senator, but it might be aid to the aid of the senator.
Because he's saying he doesn't even know the one that was arrested at his hometown.
At his hometown. So it might, because that's the level at which we have some of these people. Before you see the aid to the senator, you must see someone who is actually. So it might, even the person might be projecting themselves because they are identified with the, it's very easy to say, I know Vero. Vero is my very good friend. Even if Vero is not my friend, but because we've had a good handshake, maybe at a particular function, and we take a picture, I can go around and say, she's my very good friend. If you know our closeness, you will. So it's very much possible that the people that are actually caught in the act are not direct aides to the senator. This is still being investigated. But we know how those things are. People attach themselves to these politicians. They might not be directly, but indirectly, maybe aid to the aid, of which the senator may not even have a preview of who they are, even to her. But they will all claim, because one way or the other, the aides are people working for him to make sure that things are done for the senator. And those people may not even be known to the senator. So those are areas. But we wait for the... But I feel that the investigation on the part of the senator may not even go that far. These people should be charged to court. Let the judge decide their fate, have every evidence says whether they are direct staff, indirect staff, or who they are. The court will definitely put a clear cut to it, and that will serve as a guide for other people to say, these are actually happening. Because they may not have a clue of what is actually happening underneath them. You come in the morning, all a guy does is go straight to his room or to his living room. You have so many quarters where people come in. You are even talking of a senator. Are you aware that even some people that have security in their house, when a guy is in to sleep, they are harboring people to sleep in your house overnight.
And you do not have an idea.
You have an idea. Before Oga wakes up, they know that Oga will not come out until 8 o'clock in the morning. And by 6, that man is already out of his house. So he's actually harboring. So if they come in and pick up that person sleeping with your security in the same room with him, Oga will now say, I don't know. But your security knows it. And they caught him in your house. Those are things that happen. Because Oga comes in by 5, 6, he's busy with meetings, virtual, physical, he doesn't come out. And the way some of these people, the way they studied us, they know when Oga comes in, they know when he comes for lunch, they know when he comes in the evening, so they calculate and do whatever they like. So you may not be privy to some of these things, and that's why I feel that.
But that doesn't mean you shouldn't be vigilant or aware of certain things that are.
You can be vigilant, but how many of it? I'll just give you a.
I know. After all, ignorance will also not be an excuse. So
at the courts,
right?
We all know that, but we are saying the practical, the reality, things that are happening that we've seen out there, and that's why everybody. You see, some people they will tell you once you lock the gate at a specific time, I don't want to see anybody. Don't open it until I give approval of who to come in. But some people will still say, I don't want them to see me to be high-handed or being, not flexible. So once I go in, I believe all is well, and I can trust my aides. You must definitely watch some of those things.
But do you think that the other matter still tied to this issue of the senator from representing Kwara South, rather accusing his colleagues of also knowing that they allow or give room for the use of drugs within their constituencies, around them? Shouldn't that also be a matter to be investigated?
Of course, it should. It should. Most of the time, you see some of this issue comes out, and if the people involved are the ones that can actually bring down this thing, it will not see the light of the day. A lot of people might actually query some of these legislators, but I can tell you that there are some of them who are indeed honorable, and they want to say the thing as it is. You may not hear their voice so much. They might not be the one that echoes so much noise. But they know what is actually happening, and each time they have opportunity to talk, they say it as it is. So I feel that should be investigated. And I know by now, a lot of people would have cautioned and called their team to order. Because at that point, once the allegation has actually been made by a senator, the next thing is, okay, let's give it a try. And it's like you are coming to do a stock count, and you are announcing to the storekeeper, what do you expect? You cannot see any missing item. Overnight, everything must be clean and the books must be correct. But if you do on-the-spot check without unannounced visit to the store or to even books of account for some of us that audit account, you see a lot of things. Last night, somebody is going home because of he just took a little amount of money that is not, that when he's coming, he will bring it the next day. And you are just getting there. Both of you are opening the vault together, and he's trying to see how he can smuggle that one that he took home back. But if you have announced that we are coming tomorrow, there might be 1,001 excuse why it will not be. It might even come late that particular day and make excuse that he's fallen sick. So if this must be done, there should be unannounced visit to some of these officers to see whether the allegation by the senator representing Kano is valid or not. We must try as much as possible. It's not every time you are going to catch a criminal and you are blowing siren. What are you announcing? It's just to say, can you find your escape route? But when you visit a place unannounced, definitely, and that's why we've seen some of the successes being recorded by some of these agencies. They come in, based on tip-off, unannounced, even not coming with their vehicle, just driving. In fact, some of those, they will come here and relate with you, and you won't know when you are actually divulging information that should be. Those are the only way I feel you can get out fact, not making this kind of announcement. As soon as that senator raised the allegation, a lot of people would have cleaned up their house, even if it is happening, so that you will not be caught in that particular act.
But is the war on against drug trafficking, drug peddling, drug abuse, and the like, where are we from your assessment? How far or how well is NDLEA faring?
Well, NDLEA, they are trying their best, but I will continue to say that there is still no much awareness. We are on the enforcement side. But this awareness, and that's where this morning permits me to call out the National Orientation Agency. While some of us were growing up, there are lots of things you see on TV, on radio, in different dialects, speaking to drugs. They are doing it, but not as much as what we used to have before now. Because first thing you must do is to look for a way to enlighten the people the implication of or the use of some of the things they are doing and discourage them from doing it. Not doing it and looking for a way to apprehend and put them behind the bar and start rehabilitating them. That's even at a cost. So the first thing you must do is to first, enlighten, create the awareness, let people know that this is happening, it's really not good, and try as much as possible. Majority of the people caught in the act are punished to serve as deterrent to others, and try and relate some of the videos. There are periods that you actually get some of these people carrying out this act, you cover up their face, but when they are high, some of the attitude they exhibit are shown to people. We have a lot of NGOs that go around to take people out of this act of drug trafficking, like drug abuse, rehabilitate them, and they come out and they become a better person. Most of the time we tell people it's about awareness, enlightenment. The NDLEA may be claiming that they are doing it, but it's not as intense. So we see the NDLEA doing more of the work, apprehending people, because people are not well informed of the implication. We should hear the noise. When you wake up morning, afternoon, night, across board, TV stations, radio, in different dialects, you should be able to say that even parents themselves, we know you should be able to explain few things that you can absorb if somebody is under drugs.
But what impact will this have on these high network individuals that you talk about, these influential people that you talk about? The other day in Jigawa State, we understand that a commissioner was suspended, so to speak, because of links to drug abuse in his home, in his hotel, and all of that. Well, that's an allegation yet, but it's so in your face. And we're not talking about students indulging, we're talking about high network, as you say. So how far will this orientation go?
Because they are expected to know.
To have known.
Yeah.
It's difficult. When the person that have understanding of the law is flouting the law, how do you actually help yourself? So it's a matter of what I would consider as maybe personal conviction that I just want to do this to be on that side. And a lot of them,
addiction.
Addiction that they are actually used to. I'm sure when you talk, there are several people that have this serious addiction, and you are, no, if I don't take something, I don't feel cool to. Some will tell you that I'm a very shy person. It's when just yesterday I was on the island, almost had an accident based on a guy that I can see when I packed him down. Being a social road safety official, as a marshal, when I packed him down, the guy was high, seriously high, driving a Lexus 350. High. My driver was not at fault, and I packed him. The only thing I could not do, because I was rushing for meeting, is just there is no law enforcement agency where I can hand him over to. But I can see, danger looming. Because even after releasing him, when I packed him down, sorry, sir. And I'm like, for Christ's sake. If we have law enforcement agencies, that person yesterday should not even be driving on the road.
Absolutely.
He should not be driving. These are few things that's just an individual. Maybe he's a driver that the Oga sent somewhere and he quickly. And you see, there is this campaign that we had around garages, around everywhere. There are still all these. When Lagos State came up with this idea of banning this sachet
alcohol,
I was
that was
happy.
Debated on the floor too.
I was happy because you see all these 2 minutes, 1 minute. I say, that's what makes me.
It goes back to the responsibility of
NOA,
not even just NOA right now. I'm talking about those at the National Assembly. They represent their constituencies.
Yeah.
They have a responsibility too to ensure that their people should not get involved with these kinds of things. I believe they should also take up that responsibility as part of their jobs by creating awareness because they know their people.
You see, when it is about do what I say and don't do what I do, how do you manage it? You are going out to give enlightenment against drugs, and most of your aides are aware that you are involved in such. As a matter of fact, some of them that are not doing it are thinking that, I think this thing is meant for the big men. Now that I'm roving in the ring, in the atmosphere of the big men, let me join the league. It's difficult for them to do.
But they have a responsibility to their people.
So when you have a responsibility and you are not acting in that manner, it will be difficult for you to execute that responsibility of yours. And that's the problem where we have here. Because if they actually, they should take those, those campaigns, those awareness, those enlightenment to the grassroots. When you claim that you're having grassroots engagement with your constituency, speaking against drugs should be one of the cardinal things. Because, Vera, I can't tell the level at which teenagers are getting involved and having access to some of these things. You ask yourself, where and how do they have access to it? So I feel that we still need more orientation, more enlightenment on the part of those that are concerned to make sure that we have this out of space and let the regulators come out with those ideas. All these small sachets, whatever, the contents are higher than even those that take the big gin. And they just take it and they feel so high. And at a very minimal cost, it's like you are killing people because they can afford it. Some are like 50 naira, 100 naira, and they are just buying it. And the content is as high as that person that is buying a big one of 100,000. So how do you manage it? So you have actually brought the drugs lower to the level
so
of the people.
we should start looking at legislation to addressing this because it was debated.
But isn't there one, at least in Lagos, we could say enforcement is the issue now.
But we already have that. So they should discourage that act of going to the park. You see, I always tell individuals, don't pick up on the people that are taking it alone. Those that are selling it. When you pick those that are selling, the chain, you will break it. And those having access to it will not be able to do that.
All right, we'll leave the conversation here. Olusesan Okunade, Public Affairs Analyst, thank you for your time on the program.
It's always a great time to start the midweek with you.
Absolutely. Still to come on TVC Breakfast, the dust in the people.